Yes, Mr. Baloi.
Please, my lord, appearances for the state are still the same.
Still under oath, sir? Yes,
So in your evidence in chief, you told this court that you were one of the persons who loaded the deceased in the BMW X6.
Kushilo kubufakazi bakho ukuthi omunye wabantu abafaka umufi kwi BMW X6. Yes.
Did you see Longwe Thwala at that stage?
Ngaleso sikhathi leso wambona yini uLongwe Thwala?
umbona?
No, I didn't see him.
For purposes of my cross-examination, I'll refer you to Exhibit U1 of the record on this aspect. At paragraph 13, the relevant line that I'm going to read is from I'll just read the whole paragraph. Where it says, when I walk in the house, I saw Senzo lying in the sitting room, bleeding on the chest. We then put a towel and carried him to the BMW X6 together with Zandi's boyfriend, Dumelo, and other neighbors. I don't know. Close quotation.
Is that paragraph?
13 of Exhibit U1. It is 826.
Yes.
Paragraph 13.
So this one. Number 13 and 13.
Okay.
At the top there is 13. It's paragraph 13.
Yeah,
yes.
Yes, the first one.
Yes, Yabon.
Yes. Where it starts by saying, when I walk in the house, you can then follow from there. Thank you.
Yes.
Ngabona uSenzo eleli phansi eleli sitting room opha esifubeni sase ke simfaka within sase simbeka itowel samubula ke simsaka BMW X6 kanye neboyfriend kaZandi uTumelo kanye futhi nabanye omakhelwane angibazi.
Yebo?
Yes.
Yabon.
I see it.
So in your statement, you did indicate that Longwe Thwala, who is Zandi's boyfriend, did assist in putting the deceased in the vehicle, the BMW X6.
Statement sakho ke ushiya uyasho ke noma washo ke ukuthi uLongwe Thwala boyfriend kaZandi walekelela ke ukufakeni umufi emotweni.
Yebo kubhaliwe la kodwa umuntu wayilekelela kakuZandi ayi boyfriend kaZandi.
Yes,
ngeke boyfriend kaZandi. So kodwa ngiyabona ukuthi kubhaliwe la ukuthi Zandi's boyfriend. Kodwa umuntu walekelela uZandi.
Yes, it is written here that Zandi's boyfriend, but the person that was assisting was Zandi, not Zandi's boyfriend.
There is a statement by Longwe Thwala which he made on the 6th of November 2014.
Una statement ke uLongwe awasenza nge6 zika November 2014
at 1300 hours 30. The statement was made before Captain Angel Kululeko Mthethwa at First Loras Police Station.
senziwa kuyena ke uAngel Nkululeko Mthethwa eForce Loras Police Station.
It is A57. I'm going to read for you paragraph 10 of that statement, which reads as follows, and I quote: On arrival, I found Zandi's mom, Kelly, and that 2 unknown males carrying Senzo to the car, and I tried to help them but there were many people carrying him.
Efundeka ngalendlela ka le statement asifundayo advocate ukuthi uthi ke uma efika ulongwe ke loyo wathola ke uZandi uMakazandi kanye futhi nabasilisa ababili besa ke umufi emotweni wazama ke ukuthi alekelele kodwa ke kwakunabantu abaningi.
Do you understand this statement? He says he was also there, he tried to help. And you are saying that on the other hand, you did not see him.
Uyasizwa le statement esakhe uthi wayekhona ke ezama ukuthi alekelele kodwa ke wena konhlangothi uthi cha wayengekho.
Yebo, statement esibhalwe uyena leso. Mina kodwa engikushoyo ukuthi uLongwe angimkhumbuli ekhona kubantu ababelekelela befaka usenze emotweni.
Yes, that's a statement written by him, but what I'm saying is I don't remember Longwe being there amongst the people who assisted in loading the deceased into the vehicle.
Let us now move to another statement that you made, which was entered into the record as Exhibit U2 of the record. It is A113. But before I start to refer you to that statement, can you tell this court how many shots did you hear during the incident?
Wezwa isibhamu siqhuma kangaki ngaleli langa?
Yebo, ngishilo ukuthi sisodwa ngasizwa siqhuma ngisendlini and sesibili I might have heard it ngesikhathi ngiphuma ngaphandle.
As I've already said that I heard the first, or it went off when I was inside, and I might have heard the second one when I was outside.
So 2.
So 2 in total.
At paragraph 12 of your statement, that is Exhibit U2, it reads as follows, and I quote, I heard only one gunshot during the incident, and it was before I ran out, close quotation.
Ngezwa isibhamu siqhuma kanye kuphela ke ngaso isehlakalo leso kwakungaphambi kokuthi ngibaleke ngiye ngaphandle.
Yes.
It is nowhere in your statement that you heard the second shot when you were outside. It only refers to the one gunshot that you had during the incident. That was before you ran out.
Akukho ke lapho statement sakho la utshoyo khona ke noma ukhuluma ngoqhuma kwesibhamu okwesibili ke uthi lana ke wezwa nje sikhuma kayi1.
Yebo, ku right uqinisile futhi nalapho. Kodwa ke ngakusho ukuthi mawubhala statement kunezinto oyikhumbulayo after, kunezinto oyikhohlwayo oyifuna futhi uyirectify na after. Nabo bekubhala statement bayakutshela futhi lokho ukuthi siyazi ngeke uzukhumbule yonke into, okunye mhlawumbe ngenzeka ube ukukhumbula ngesinye isikhathi. So ke njengoba ngisho ukuthi esisodwa ngasizwa ngisangaphakathi, njengoba ngasho futhi ukuthi I might have had the second gunshot outside sesibili.
It is so that when a statement is being taken down from you, you remember certain things. There are things that you don't remember, and you might be able to remember at a later stage. Even when they take a statement from you, they inform you that you might not be able to remember everything now. So yes, as it is put here that I had only one shot, and also saying here in court that I might have had the second shot when I was outside.
Okay. There are two aspects before I sit down that I want to canvass from you. The first one, I'll take you to the evidence of Zandile Khumalo, just a brief synopsis of evidence. He says, or rather she says, that one gunshot was fired when she was in the kitchen. She then ran into the bathroom. 2 shots were fired when she was there.
Ngizothi nje kafushane ke ngikusho noma ngikutsheleke lokho okushiwo uyena ke uZandile kubufakazi bakhe uthi ke saqhuma ke isibhamu ihlandla lodwa ngathi esekitchen wasegijima ke eya ebedroom ngathi esebedroom saqhuma isibhamu kabili.
Do you follow?
Iyalandela?
Ngiyakuzwa.
Yes, I hear you.
All right. She further went on to testify that when she was in the bathroom squatting there, she opened the bathroom door and saw the deceased moving from the kitchen to the sitting room.
Uqhubeka ke athi uZandile kubufakazi bakhe uthe esese bathroom lapho ke ehlezi noma esikwatile ke ngendlela ayesikwate ngayo wasepopola ke ngase siqapha leso sase bathroom wambona ke umufi endlula esuka ngase kitchen eya ngakuhlangothi lase sitting room.
Yebo.
Yes.
In the contrary, your evidence is to the effect that after you heard the first gunshot, you then ran out of the door, but before you ran out of the door, you met the deceased next to the stove, taking the direction to the sitting room. You confirm that?
Ngokuphikisanayo ke naloko okushoyo wena ke ngoba wena uthe kuba kubufakazi uthe uma seqhuma ke isibhamu okokuqala wena ke nkathi ugijima ke uya obalekele esicabheni uyophuma ngaphandle endlini wahlangana naye ke umufi yena ke naphambana nomufi yena ke engena ngaphakathi endlini.
Yebo.
Yes.
I just want your viewpoint on this. Zandi having seen Senzo moving from the kitchen to the sitting room and you meeting Senzo in the kitchen before you ran out, does that not suggest that when the shots that Zandi had fired were still in the kitchen?
He was still in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. Ingabe lokhu ke akuthi yini uma kuwukuthi uZandi ke wabona umufi esibuya ke kitchen sitting room ukuthi lokuqhuma kwesibhamu uZandi akhuluma ngako akuzwa nkathi yena ke ese bathroom ukuthi akusho lokho ukuthi wena ngaleso sikhathi leso wawusese kitchen yini?
Angeke ngize ngikhulume ngestatement zaZandi mina ungangibuza ngestatement zami ezaZandi nje ngeke ngize ngikhulume ngaso.
There's no way that I can make reference or speak about Zandi's statements. You can only ask me about my statements. I cannot speak about Zandi's statements.
I'm also going to take you to the statement of Lieutenant Colonel Christian Mangena.
Lieutenant.
It is A64.
Uthike uzokufundela ke istatement sakhe uLieutenant Colonel Christian Mangena. A64.
Lieutenant Colonel did some observation in the kitchen and come to certain conclusions. But what is relevant for purposes of my cross-examination is paragraph 13.1.2 at page 21 of his affidavit. But before I go to the affidavit of the Lieutenant Colonel, that is Mangena, you haven't told this court about how you exited the door. Did you exit through the closed door or the door was open when you exited?
Awukayitsheli-ke le nkantolo ukuthi waphuma kanjani-ke waphuma umnyango uvaliwe noma ke waphuma umnyango ovuliwe?
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngeke ngize ngiphume umnyango kuba uvaliwe. Kusho kona ukuthi umnyango awuvuliwe ngesikhathi ngiphuma.
I think that there's no way I would have exited if the door was closed, so it means that the door was open when I went out.
Who opened the door? Can you tell this court? Because you haven't told this court throughout your evidence in chief.
Ubani owasivula isicapha ngoba ukazi uyitsheleke le nkantolo kuba bonke nje ubufakazi bakho?
Angeke ngizokwazi ukuphendula lalo mbuzo ngoba angikaze ngisho ukuthi isicapha sasivaliwe vele.
I won't be able to answer that question because I've never even said that the door was closed.
So, how was the door open? Was it wide open when you ran out?
Ngathi ke uphuma wena ke ubaleka nje umnyango lo wawuvuleke nje wonke.
Nalapho futhi angeke ngize ngisho ukuthi bawuvuleke wonke noma kanjani kodwa umnyango awuvulekile ngoba ngaphuma kuona mina andangizange ngize nguvule.
Even there I won't be able to say whether it was wide open but the door was open but it wasn't opened by me.
I just want to grasp this before I ask you this question. But Lieutenant Colonel Mangena says the following, and I quote, that is at paragraph 13.1.2. The other shot was fired to the direction of the door at a slightly downward angle.
Uma efunda ke affidavit yakhe ke uLieutenant Colonel Mangena uthi enye ke ishot yadutshulwa ke esiqabheni nje ukuyenzansi.
Bullet damage marked A1 on the door had characteristics of an unstable bullet.
What's an unstable bullet?
Yes, can I repeat that?
What's an unstable bullet? Ngizisho ngesingisi ke mfethu uthi ke le damage noma lo monakalo wabonakala ke esicabheni wabonakala noma usho ke uveza ukuthi kwakuyi bullet engekho stable or unstable.
The unstableness of the bullet could have been as a result of an intermediate target between the firearm and the door, which most probably was the deceased. Close quotation.
Ngiyakuzwa.
Yes, I'm hit by the ballistic terms now.
Ngiyakuzwa kodwa ke nami ngiyadideka ngiyalahleka ngoba nje ukhuluma ama bullets unstable ntontoni so nami ngilost but ngiyakuzwa ukuthi uthini.
But I hear what you are saying.
Mhlawumbe
But
mungangihlaziyela kahle.
if I can simplify this, it says that there is a shot that was fired, right? Or maybe we allow.
The other shots.
Do you want this witness to comment on the trajectory of the alleged unstable projectile?
My lord, I just want him to understand this before. I'm not saying that he has to comment about it, but there's a question that I'm driving at. The follow-up question.
Okay.
Yes, it is this important next question that I want him to answer. Yes. No,
ngiyakuzwa ngiyifunda kodwa ngicela uhlaziye kahle mhlawumbe just explain ukuthi what does this mean ngoba as much as ngi understand the English but when you're putting it in other terms
it says that there was a target between when the firearm was shot and the door.
Ngaphambi kokuthi uyofika ke noma uyoshaya esicabheni khona la eyaqala yashaya khona inhlanzi.
Yes, to simplify it. So, and there is a photo which depicts the damage at the door.
Sikhona futhi nesithombe lana ke esikhombisayo ukuthi umnyango lona ke wonakaliseka.
If ngikuzwa kahle mhlawumbe le target engawuzwa uthi bullets khona la ngathi mhlawumbe ngizothi ukuricochet khona before ifike lapho.
If I understand you correctly, maybe it's this target that confuses me.
You're saying the bullet ricocheted somewhere ukuze iyofika lapho.
No, before the bullet hit the door, it hit the deceased. That is what this is saying.
Evidence. Please, I read the affidavit.
Yes.
I'm saying it's in the lieutenant's affidavit that it actually hit, or he's just surmising.
Yes.
Hello?
So, sorry, my lord.
Is he just surmising, or is he categorically stating it as a fact?
Yeah, as a fact.
As a fact.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Ngaphambi kokuthi yoshaya-ke istabha yashaya yena-ke ngokwebeka kwakho ummeli yashaya umufi.
So,
Okay. So ngiyakuzwa.
what I want to find out is how is it probable that the bullet would have hit the back of the door, hence the door was open after you had run out of the house?
Once again, as we objected before, issues relating to ballistic evidence can be put to the ballistic expert when he comes to testify. This witness is a layman, and we submit, my lord, that it is unfair to put questions regarding such a technical field to a layperson.
What's your view, Mr. Mumalo?
My lord, I just wanted this witness to comment because he says that he ran through the open door. Mangena says there is a bullet which hit the back of the door, so there is, the versions which are not consistent.
Can you comment on that, sir?
Khona ngakusho lokho.
About the fact that there was an intermediary disturbance of the bullet because it had struck sensor before it struck the door.
Ukuthi ke khona la yaqala yashaya khona-ke inhlamu ngaphambi kokuthi yoshaya isiqapha ukuthi yashaya-ke usenzo. Khona ngakusho lokho.
I think he knows. I'm not going to comment on what somebody else's statement says.
Angeke ngishikhulume lutho-ke kokushiwo istatement somunye umuntu.
I'll leave it there, my lord. Thank you.
Just for my edification, that statement of Lieutenant Mangena, sorry.
Yes.
Is it made in terms of section 212 of the
It's
criminal procedure?
212. Yes, it's 212.
Yeah, but that section pertinently deals with expert evidence.
Expect evidence.
Is that not
yes,
so?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. I'll leave it there, madam.
Yes.
Thank you. What was the main reason for you to run out of the house?
Kwakuyini eyona mbangela-ke yokuthi ugijime uphume nje endlini?
Panic, clump, shock, safety. Kuningi nje.
Panic, shock, safety,
Just
just a lot.
Assistance could be one of them. To look for assistance, to look for help.
Yes, you can also say that.
Ungakusho-ke nalokho ukuthi
Did you do
angifuna
that?
usizo.
Did you do that? Did you look for assistance?
Yes, ngitholile.
Yes, I did get it.
Did you phone for the police or the ambulance?
Amaphoyisa ambulance wafonela?
At the time angizange ngibafonela ngoba ifoni yami yayi-off.
At the time, I didn't call them because my phone was off.
Did you ask from the neighbors to assist you?
Kwabacala yini omakhelwane ukuthi bakusize?
Angizange ngize ngibacele ngoba ngabuyela futhi ngaphakathi phuthumise uSendle esibhedlela.
I didn't ask them because I went back into the house and rushed Senzo to hospital.
If I get your evidence clear, at the time when you ran out of the house, the first intruder was still inside the house.
Uma ngikuzwa kahle-ke kubufakazi bakho kathi uphuma wena-ke endlini lo wokuqala umsola wayesengaphakathi endlini.
Yebo.
Yes.
When you ran back, that is after you jumped the wall of the neighbor, were you not in danger?
Kathi usubuyela khona-ke usujomba futhi-ke ubonda lolu lakomakhelwane. Wawungekho engozini yini noma ungekho engcupheni yini?
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi bengichazile ukuthi ukubuyela kwami ngaphakathi endlini ngangisengitholile i-confirmation from umakakheli ukuthi akekho lowo muntu wayephethe isibhamu ngaphakathi.
I think I did mention it that when I jumped back or when I went back into the house, I had already received confirmation from Kelly's mother that the suspect was not inside the house anymore.
So ngabuyela ngaphakathi endlini.
I then went back into the house.
Did you see the first intruder when he was moving out of the house?
Ngathi ephuma-ke ehamba endlini lokuqala wambona yini?
Cha,
No,
ngimbonanga.
I didn't see him.
Do you know what happened to him?
Ngabuyazi ukuthi kwenzekani ngaye?
Cha,
No,
angazi.
I don't know.
Is it correct that from your evidence, after you jumped back, You told this court that you remained in the premises of Khumalo home. You were in the vicinity. Do you confirm that?
Uma usujompeleke wabuyela khona kwaKhumalo ke angithi waba lapho noma wawuphakathi lapho egcekeni lakwaKhumalo emuva kokuthi wabuya futhi uthi emuva kokuthi angithi ubungale kwaNqathe ne wasujompa ubuyela khona kwaKhumalo so nkathi usubuyeleke khona kwaKhumalo ukuthi ngaso wawulapho nje ngaso sonke isikhathi lapho kwaKhumalo egcekeni noma kusendlini noma kusegcekeni kodwa wawukwaKhumalo.
Ngiyacala ukuthi ngaKhumalo ngijumpele back kaKhumalo, so obviously ngaKhumalo.
I jumped back into the Khumalos, so obviously I was at the Khumalos.
So how did it happen that you don't see this first intruder getting out of the house, or did it just vanish into thin air?
Manje kwenzeka kanjani ke ukuthi ungamboni lona ke noma wasuke nje wanyamalala nje? Kwenzeka kanjani ukuthi ungamboni uma ngabe ephuma endlini lokuqala?
Angeke ngize ngazi ke nami ukuthi kwenzeke kanjani ngoba umuntu engambona nje bengisho ukuthi makakheli isigebengu phela egcineni isigebengu ngathi mesiphuma sizoyiveza yini ngoba sizoqasha vele sibaleke.
I wouldn't know. The person that I saw, it's Kelly's mother, and we are referring to a criminal or a thug. So is that person just going to show himself when it is obvious that the person is going to hide?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, my daughter. I have no further cross-examination. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, my lord. Mr. Thwala.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to understand the way in which you could assess things when the incident took place.
Ufuna nje ukulalela nokuzwa ke indlela ke abantu babona noma babuka ngayo ke isimo ke kwindawo yesigameko.
Yebo.
Yes.
For me to be able to do that, I have to ask you this question as to what is your highest standard of education.
Ukuze ngikwenzeke lokho kufanele ngiqale ngibuze lana ke esikoleni ke.
As a coach, I know that is the style of counsel, but to ask the qualifications.
That's her style, is not on the facts.
We submit, my lord, that it's not relevant. You know, the history of education in this country. I think a witness must be respected and not be allowed to answer such questions regarding the higher standard of education. We submit it's irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with the issues at stake.
Yes, let's hear. What's your response, Ms. Mashola?
My lord, it is important to know the competency, the skills, the experience, including the qualifications, if there are any, of the witness. Not precisely that he is giving expert evidence, but in order to assess
What?
the evidence in which he testified before this court and the way in which he observed things at the time when the incident took place, because those things I will be addressing this court on the reason why his evidence should be accepted or not. So it's going to assist my address, my lord.
So if he has a PhD, let's say, there's a PhD in mathematics or solid state physics. And if he doesn't have it, how does it affect his observational powers of observing what happens in front of him?
My lord, I will be addressing at that particular time to say the witness couldn't answer 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, whereas...
No, that question is overruled.
As the court feels. At the time when the incident took place, Mr. Thwala, were you working?
Ngenkathi isigameko senzeka wawusebenza.
Ngakenza ama-promotional jobs ngisho kanjani,
I was doing
but
promotional.
nganganawo 9 to 5 at that time 2014.
I was doing promotional jobs. Let me put it like that,
One
but
of-
not a 9 to 5 job in 2014.
For one of amalo ngiyenza ngisho but la service providers between the 3 networks ala in South Africa.
One of the service providers between the 3 here in South Africa, but I won't name.
Okay, so you were like a consultant.
No,
No.
promotional jobs like promoter.
I was promoting.
Okay. For how long?
Isikhathi esingakanani?
Yo, I think mhlambe it was for like 2 years because in 2015 ngase ngithola a stable job at Bonitas.
For about 2 years, because in 2015 I then I got a stable job at Bonitas.
Okay. At that time, when you were doing the promotional jobs,
Yes.
you had applied for that job. Is that correct?
Ngalesikhathi uthola lo umsebenzi lo owapplyela angithi.
Yeah, ngasho kanjalo.
Yes, you could say so.
Had you completed any application forms when you applied for that job?
Number application. So,
Please, what is the relevance of all these issues? The witness's status regarding his employment or not, we submit that it's got nothing to do with the issues at hand.
No, maybe it has. But, Ms. Mshololo, when I overruled that question, I did so because this witness is not testifying as an expert.
Yes,
Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Go on. Let's hear you further what you want to prove.
Thank you, ma'am. Have you signed any form?
kunefomu owayisayina yini uma usu-applyela lo msebenzi lo?
Angisakhumbuli, but I think khona into esanayo because fanele banikeze your account numbers and stuff ukuthi bezokukhokhela. So noma ngasakhumbuli kahle, it was like 11, 12 years ago lokho.
I can't remember well, but I think there is something that you need to give them because you've got to provide them with your account numbers. Although I can't remember properly, it's about 11, 12 years ago.
But what I want to find out, Mr. Thwala, from you is that at the time when the incident took place, had you signed any document before? It may be the application for ID, it may be the application for employment, it may be the application when you open a bank account wherein you give information and sign at the end.
Afuna ukwazi ke ukuthi ngaphambilini kwesigameko lesi ngabe khona yini noma yiphi nje idocument noma idocument yofuna umsebenzi, idocument yokwenza isicelo somazisi, idocument noma yini nje idocument la ekugcineni kufanele usayinde khona.
Njengoba ngisho ukuthi angikhumbuli.
As I'm saying that I can't recall.
Oh, okay. And at that time, you will know, you could differentiate between right and wrong. Am I correct?
Ngaleso sikhathi leso ke wawukwazi ke oku-wrong kanye noku-right. Ngaleso sikhathi ke kwenzeka kwesigameko.
I take it that you are no longer a child.
Angizwa kahle umbuzo.
Wawukwazi ukuthi uhlukanise phakathi koku-wrong kanye noku-right. Wawukwazi ukuhlukanisa phakathi kokubili ukuthi lokhu ku-right lokhu ku-wrong.
In other words, Mr. Thwala, you were no longer a child. I don't want to ask the age. You were no longer the child, you were an adult at that particular time. And you will be able to differentiate between right and wrong. Am I correct?
Usho ukuthi ke
You can say so, yes.
Ngasho kanjalo ke, yebo.
Okay. And then the two exhibits, my lord, exhibit U1 and U2. When you sign them, you understood what it means to put your signature in a document. Am I correct?
Ngathi usayinda lezi statement eziwu2 ke lezi phambi kwakho U1 no U2 wawazi ke ukuthi usayindelani noma uthini ke uma ngabe usayinda.
Or you knew, my lord, just to rephrase the word. You knew
Wawazi
what we are doing when you put your signature in that document.
ukuthi ngokusayinda ukuthi wenzani.
Ngisho kanjalo phela ngangiqala ukwenza so
I would say so, but
ngingachaza lokho izolo ukuthi i statement angiqala usibhala so
I would say so, and I was doing it for the first time. I did mention it yesterday that it was my first time deposing of statements.
Yeah. But you knew what you were doing.
Kodwa awazi ukuthi wenzani.
Okay. Let's go to the first statement, my lord, exhibit U1. Paragraph 11. I'm going to read the second line, not the whole paragraph. The second paragraph, it says, the third line. He then chased me, or maybe let me just read the whole paragraph. Paragraph 11. I then went to the second suspect who was having a knife in his hand, pushed him aside, ran out of the house. He then chased me. I jumped the wall to the neighbor's house. At that time, neighbors were already outside as they heard what was happening.
Ngaya ke kumsolo usibili owayephethe ummese esandleni ngamphushela ke eceleni ngase ngigijima noma ngibaleka ke ngiphuma endlini wase engisukela ke noma engilandela ngajompa ke ubonda lamakhelwane noma lomuzi womakhelwane ngaleso sikhathi ke omakhelwane babe ngaphandle ke njengoba bakuzwa okwakwenzeka.
Okay, I understand it is your evidence that the two intruders came inside the house with the intention to demand money and cell phone. Is that correct?
Ngizwile ke ubufakazi bakho uthi uma bengena laba babili abangena endlini ngaleli langa ke bangena bafuna imali kanye nama cell phones.
Yebo ikona bakwenza lokho.
Yes, that's what they did.
And then when you ran out of the house and being chased or being followed by the second intruder, he did not demand you any money, he did not rob you.
Uma ke usuphuma ke endlini usulandelwa ke lo wesibili ke akazange akubamba inkunzi akazange akufune lutho noma akufune imali noma akufune lutho.
Akazange ngoba ngangibaleka asengeza ngifice.
He didn't because I was running and he didn't get to me or reach me. I jumped.
Okay. When we were jumping inside the Ngache's homestead, he didn't follow you there.
Akazange akulandele uma ujombela kwaNgache.
Wathi yanga concrete waqhubeka wehla ngomnyango. Azange azajombe kodwa yena.
I turned around close to the concrete and went down the road, but he didn't jump.
So he went past you.
He went wadlula kumina.
He went past.
Angithi besibaleka mina ngizojika ngizokhevela ku concrete ngizojomba. Nayo uyakheva kancane but wangibona sengijomba useyaqhubeka uyehla.
As we were running, I then curved towards the concrete. He was also slightly curving, but he saw that I was jumping, but he then ran straight down.
But if that person had an intention to rob you, he would have caught you at the time when you were jumping inside the Ngache's gates or fence.
Uma kuukuthi loyo muntu lo wayenenhloso noma nenjongo yokuthi ke abamba inkunzi wayezokubamba ke noma wayezokufica ke nkathi ujomba khona lapho kwaNgache.
Njengoba ngishilo ukuthi lo muntu wayezongibamba inkunzi or whatever lento ayengibamba yona. So mina ngokubaleka kwami ngangizokwenza sure ukuthi akakufici. Sasingadlali phela. Into serious.
As I said that this person had come to rob me. In my running, I would have made sure that he doesn't reach me or he doesn't get me. We were not playing games, it was serious.
Let's move on to paragraph 7 of the same exhibit, my lord, U1, wherein you said in paragraph 7, paragraph 7, line number 7 as well, when you said the first one had a firearm in his hand and said, "Footback, cell phone and money."
Oqala ke wayinephethe ke isibhamu esandleni sakhe waseshoka amagama wawasho cell phone nemali.
Yebo.
Yes.
Ngiyakubona lapho.
I see that.
Is that correct?
Kunjalo.
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi bengishilo ukuthi ucellphone nomani umuntu engakukhumbula futhi ekhe kodwa ucellphone nomani wakusho.
I think I did mention it yesterday that cell phones and money, yes, indeed, but the swear word, I didn't. I said that I couldn't remember it.
Okay. And then let's move on to Exhibit U2. Paragraph 4, line number 5, wherein you said he demanded money and cell phones. I can't remember what language he used. I think he was speaking in Zulu and Osoto. You said you can't remember, but here when you were testifying, you said you could remember.
Lana ke uthi ke wafuna ke imali kanye nama cell phones. Angisakhumbuli ukuthi wasebenzisa luphi ulimi. Ngicabanga ukuthi wayekhuluma isiZulu kanye nesisuthu. Lana ke uthi awukhumbuli kodwa la enkantolo ushilo uye wakhumbula.
Yebo.
Yes.
How come now you recall it?
I think I've always said in language ukuthi thina as much as kubhaliwe la, and we've always had a debate in language, for which means I clarify izolo ukuthi ngiqonda ukuthini ngalokho.
I think I've always said it, what the language was that was used, and it was even debated at some time here in court, and yesterday I clarified what I meant by that.
Oh, you said in what language did the suspect demand money and cell phone?
I said the person spoke in isiZulu suit, but and then I clarified ukuthi ngiqonda ukuthini mangisho kanjalo.
Ngitheke lo muntu wayekhuluma isiZulu nesisuthu, but I then clarified
Zulu suit. Then I clarify.
Ngisatolika. Awuphinde ke qale.
I said the person was speaking in isiZulu suit. I also mentioned isiSuthu, yes, but not in the sense ukuthi umuntu bekhuluma ngesisuthu. Ngize ngachaza ukuthi isiZulu sami nesizulu somuntu wakuphi nesizulu somuntu wakuphi asifani as much as kuyisizulu. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi nozantu uzilo bazotestify la. Nesizweli izulu sakho ukuthi sinjani. Asifani nesami kodwa naye bekhuluma isiZulu.
I did say that it was Zulu, Sotho, but I then clarified what I meant by that. I even mentioned of places. Even Zandi was here. You heard how she was speaking in isiZulu, but her isiZulu is unlike mine.
Okay. Let's move on to paragraph 8 of the same Exhibit U2, which reads as follows. I quote, my lord, open quote, I can't remember the color of the hoodie jacket the suspect was wearing. I can't remember that the second suspect was wearing a hat, but I don't know the color of the hat. I didn't see the second suspect properly, and I cannot describe or identify him.
Angikhumbulike ukuthi umbala we-hoodie jacket wawunjani, ayogqokile umsolo wawunjani. Ngisakhumbula ke ukuthi umsolwa wesibili wayegqoke isigqoko kodwa ke angiwazi umbala waso isigqoko. Angizange ngimbone umsolwa wesibili kahle. Futhi ke angeke bekusimo sokuthi ke ngingamkhomba.
Yeah, ngiyakubona futhi nalapho yet again ngiyacabanga ukuthi bengichazile lokho ngoba le statement ile sethe ngikhuluma ngaso sami Mr. Shapiro. Yishilo ukuthi okay, so
yes, I see that. In this statement, I did clarify it or mention that this is the statement that was written by Shapiro.
I think kwaba khona ukuphazima phakathi kwami naye into engimtshela yona nento ayibhalayo, because I've always said with suspect number 1 ngiyamkhumbula owayegqoka isigqoko, suspect number 2 uyena lo ayifake into ehood engamkhumbuli kahle engagxili kuyena.
Because as myself and Shapiro was speaking and he was writing that which I was speaking, he wasn't writing that properly down, because I've always maintained or always said that I am able to, I remember suspect number 1 is the one that was wearing the hat, and suspect number 2 is the one that was wearing the hoodie. But that person I cannot remember or I can't identify him because I wasn't focusing on that person.
Okay, so the last part of this paragraph where it says, I didn't see the second suspect properly and I cannot describe or identify him, that one is correct?
Yebo.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to the same exhibit, my lord, paragraph 10. Okay, let me just read the whole paragraph. It starts from paragraph 9. You see, paragraph 9, yes. If there is a contradiction between myself and other witnesses about the description of what the suspect was wearing, which hat, I can't deny it as I was confused and everything happened very fast. You see that one?
Lana ke ukuthi noma kufundeka ngalendlela uma kuukuthi ke kukhona la awufakazi bushayisana khona ke phakathi kwami kanye nabanye ofakazi mayela nokuchaza ke ukuthi umsolwa wayegqokeni noma wayegqoke isiqhoko angeke ngikuchaze sorry ngeke ngikuphikiseke lokho nanjengoba ngangididekile futhi konke kwenzeka ngokusheshsha.
Yes.
Yes.
You were confused. You agree with that one? You agree? You were confused.
Sorry. Ngithi ngiyakuzwa noma ngasakhumbuli kahle kodwa ngiyakuzwa ukuthi bhala uthini.
I'm saying I'm hearing you, although I can't remember well, but I do hear what you're saying.
Yeah. And everything happened fast.
Konke kwenzeka ngokusheshsha.
Yebo kwakwenzeka ngokusheshsha kana.
Yes, it happened.
In other
fast.
words, you couldn't see properly when the incident took place because you were confused and everything happened fast.
Ukusho ukuthi ke uma nkathi sigameko lesi senzeka okwakwenzeka ungaboni kahle ngoba ke wawujidekile futhi ke kwenzeka ngokusheshsha.
I think makwenzeka into kanjiya robbery okwenzakalani obvious izinto eziningi ezenzakalayo kuwena. Ziningi izinto ezenzakalayo singahlala nje enkantolweni enzakalisa mhlawumbe manje usuku observer yonke into akufani nje besihleli kanje enkantolweni bathi kusuke umuntu eseqhamuka nesibhamu.
Obviously, when something like that happens, a lot of things happen to you. It's unlike us being here in court now, and it's and then when somebody appears, or it's not the same as when someone appears with a firearm.
No, there is no harm if you say that. There is no harm if you say it happened fast and I was confused, or maybe others they say they were shocked. You know, it's normal under the circumstances. You know, that's what I want to confirm from you, that you were confused and everything happened very fast.
Ngingasho ukuthi everything happened very fast.
I can say that everything happened very fast. Ukuthi yonke into yenzeka ngokusheshsha.
Do you deny or admit that you were confused?
Ukuthi ke kona ke wawudidekile noma confused ke uyaphika noma uyakuvuma.
Angeke ngize ngisho ukuthi ngiyakuphika or ngiyakuvuma.
I wouldn't say I deny nor confirm it.
Okay. And Senzo was your friend?
Baba umngani wakho
A
Senzo.
very close friend.
Umngani wami impela.
And you came to this court to tell the truth?
Uze futhi la kwenkantolo uzokhuluma iqiniso.
Njengoba nje sengiqalile kade ngiqalile futhi.
Just as I've started, and I started long ago.
Let's read the other part of paragraph 5.
10.
But it starts with, it says paragraph 6. Oh, sorry, yes, it's paragraph 10.
10.
Paragraph 10 at the beginning. The second suspect was carrying a knife, and when I was coming outside, he chased me. I jumped the wall to the neighboring house. I cannot describe the knife. You see that?
Owesibili ke umsolwa wangisukela ke wayephethe ummese futhi ke ngalenkathi ke noma ngenkathi ngibaleka ngaphandle wase ngisukela ke ngase ngijompa ke ubonda lo makhelwane angikwazi noma ngeke ngichaze ke ummese.
Is that one correct?
Yebo.
Yes.
Okay, and also it is your evidence here in court that you cannot describe the knife.
Uyasho futhi ukuthi ummese angeke uchaze.
Yebo.
Yes.
And I'm putting it to you that the reason why you cannot describe the knife, it's because there was no second suspect who was in possession of the knife.
Mina ke ngizothi uma ngikutshela ngithi imbangi noma isizathu sokuthi ungawuchazike noma ungakwazi ukuchaza ummese uyingoba wayengekho umsolo wesibini futhi wangenammese.
Sorry, before he responds, just think about the question you've just posed. You see, you're saying there was no second suspect who carried a knife. The implication or insinuation is that there was a suspect, a second or other suspect.
Sorry, my lord, can I just rephrase?
Yes.
Can I just rephrase?
Yes.
You, in this statement, you were referring to the second intruder, am I correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And you say you cannot describe the knife in which the second intruder possessed.
Futhi ke lo mmese lona othi lo wesibili wawuphethe ukuthi ummese ongekho kusimo noma ungakwazi ukuthi ungawuchaza.
Yebo.
Yes.
Then I'm saying to you, you cannot describe, cannot give the description of the knife the alleged second intruder possessed because there was no second intruder who entered the house.
Mina ngithi kuwena ke isizathu noma imbangela yokuthi ke lo mmese lowo ke ungawukazi ke ukuthi uchaze yingoba kwakungekho msolwa ke noma umuntu wesibili lapho futhi wayephethe ummese.
Engingakusho ke mina ukuthi wayekhona umuntu wesibili wayephethe ummese. Lapha ngingavele ngithi wayengekho nje umuntu ngobani. Wayekhona umuntu wesibili wayephethe ummese and uyena lo waphuma nami wangijaha.
What I can say then is that there was a second person there who was carrying a knife. Why would I then say there was no person? There was a second person and that person went out with me and chased me.
Yeah, but you further cannot describe him, that person.
Kodwa ke umuntu ongakwazi ukuthi ungamchaza
The second intruder, my lord.
lo wesibili.
Manje ukuthi angikwazi ukumchaza umuntu kusho ukuthi wayengekho yini.
Does it then mean that there was no
Yes.
person if I'm unable to describe him?
Yes.
Ngibe ngikushilo ukuthi angimbonanga kahle.
When I have said that I didn't see him properly,
Shuthi wena ufuna ngichaza amanga ke manje.
then you want me to tell lies now.
Let's move on to the next line. After I've jumped, please jump that line. You see that paragraph?
Yes.
After I've jumped, jump that one, go with me to the next line, which starts with say, I saw the second suspect walking in the street and I even pointed him out to the neighbors. I couldn't observe his attire while walking in the street as it was dark.
Ngambona ke umsolo, sorry. Ngambona ke umsolo wesibili uma nkathi ehamba ke estradeni ngase ngimkhomba ke kubona omakhelwane angizange ke ngibukeke noma ngibhekeke lokho awayegqokile nkathi ehamba estradeni ngoba kwakumnyama.
Is that statement correct?
Yebo, it's correct.
Yes, it is correct.
And it is correct that it was dark in the street.
Nokuthi kwakumnyama estradeni.
Akusekumnyama phela kusebusuku.
It was already dark, it was at night.
And you couldn't see what he was wearing.
Nokuthi wayegqokeni awuzange ukubone.
Attire, uthi attire ususho the whole attire. Attire usho njalo.
When
If
you
you
refer to
understand
attire, it
attire
means
usho
the
the
whole.
whole.
Yeah,
Mina
what-
ngithe a hoodie, wayegqoka ihoodie. Musu uthi attire ubala nebhuluku icathula uthi wayegqoka obhaqa amateki attire yonke ke le.
Yeah.
I was
Ngokwazi kwami.
specifically referring to the hoodie, but once it says attire, it refers to everything that he was wearing.
But firstly, I asked if this statement is correct. You remember? I read it to you. I asked if it's correct. You said it's correct.
Ngisifundile ngase ngikubuza ukuthi ngempela
It says, I couldn't observe his attire while walking in the street as it was dark. Is that correct? Is that what you said in your statement?
Yes, that is what I said.
yebo kuyikona ke ngakusho ukuthi angizange ngibone ke awayegqokile.
What did you mean when you were referring to the attire?
As I've said, attire mina ngokufunda kwami attire it's ubona yonke into umuntu ayigqokile, that's an attire yokugqoka yonke into. Mina I refer to hood ukuthi ngambone egqoka ihood ngoba sasasendlini. So the whole attire is completely another different perspective lapho.
Okay.
When I
Angazi noma we are on the same page yini ngalokho.
I specifically mentioned the hoodie. When once now the reference is made to the attire, it then refers to everything that he was wearing, and that is now something totally different. I don't know whether we're on the same page.
Okay, so what did you mean when you said this? Were you referring to the hood or were you referring to the rest of the clothing of that person? So that I get it from you.
Ukuze ngikuthole kuwena ke wakhuluma wena ke ngehoodie noma wakhuluma ngakho konke awayegqokile.
I think enye into efanele si understand ukuthi umuntu osuke kubhalisa statement usuke kubuza yena. So umuntu mayengibuza ngegama elithi attire, mina ngizomphendula ngo attire lo awushoyo. Lo bhalwe la, mina ngikaze ngimention attire. Umuntu obengibuza la umention attire. So that's why ngisho ukuthi attire angikwazi wonke attire bakhe. Ngoba egcineni ngizobe sengichaza amateki, musu ngibuza amateki kanjani, ayimhlophe noma ayiblue noma enjani. So into engeke ngikwazi ukisho le angithi, but ngikukhumbula ihood. observed. So iyona into engishilo. So attire is completely something different.
We would first then have to understand with regards to the person that then took down the statement from me. The person is the one who made mention of the word attire, and in my response I then responded according to how I was asked. And because now if I stick to the word attire, you're going to ask me about the sneakers or the techies, what the color it was, the pants, and just everything. I specifically made mention of the hoodie.
So it means here you were referring to the hoodie only, not the rest of the clothing of the second intruder.
Okusho ukuthi la wena nje ngokwakho wawukhuluma kuphela wena ngehoodie ungakhuluma konke awayegqokile.
Yet again, uthi attire. I mean, I'm referring to his attire. Njoba ngishilo ukuthi I couldn't observe his attire while walking in the streets as it was dark. Attire.
Yeah.
That's attire yini? Everything that your person is wearing. Mina manje bungosuthi yini attire yami uzosho ukuthi nayi attire kugqoka ujinsi blue.
Okay, so what is it that you couldn't observe?
The attire.
Attire lokho awayegqokile.
Including the hoodie.
The attire.
Yeah? What's attire meaning what?
Attire meaning everything that is wearing.
Including the
konke
hoodie.
awayegqokile.
Attire.
Okay. You did not see because it was dark.
Awabonake ngokuthi kwakumnyama.
Yes, I did not see his attire because it was dark.
Yebo ke lokho ayegqokile ngizange ngikubone ngoba kwakumnyama.
There is witness who testified before this court by the name of Ntabiseng Mokete, who said he was inside the car on the same street, sitting inside. Did you see any car when you were going to Ngashe's homestead?
Kunofakazi ke obekhona la enkantolo ekunguMthabiseng igama lakhe othi wayehlezi emotweni imoto yayisestradeni ngaba ngenkathi uya kwaNgathi noma uJombela kwaNgathi khona imoto owayibona eyayimi estradeni uthi uMthabiseng wayehlezi kuleyo moto yena.
Angeke ngizokhomba ngoba ngiyazi nemoto uthi yayime kuphi. Mina ukuphuma kwami ngingena ka next door, so imoto ngiyazi ukuthi yayime kuphi, but
I
ngibona ngamoto mina lapho.
Because I don't know where specifically the car was parked. I just went out and jumped into the neighbors.
So ekubalekweni kami la ngibaleke khona ayikho imoto lapho.
So you did not see?
La ngibaleke khona mina ayikho imoto engayibona. Angazi ke ngithi imoto yakho Ntabiseng ngiyayipake kuphi.
Where I ran, there was no car, or I saw no car there. So I don't know where Ntabiseng's car was parked.
Okay, thank you. There was no car there. And further to that, Ntabiseng said it was not dark. It was not that dark. It was lit because there were some other, there were electricity around the houses there.
Okunye ukukhulunywa uMthabiseng ke ukuthi kwangekho mnyama ngoba ke kwakukhona ke amalambu ke ayekhanyisa ke kwizindlu.
So in other words, there was some light. And she could see people running.
Yes, it could be vele ukuthi nje mina ngithi dark ngirefera ku dark ukuthi kwakuyisebusuku, but at the same time futhi nabe kuthiwa kunama lights kuyaba dark futhi nabe kuthiwa ekhona ama lights but kuyaba dark endaweni emalokishini.
It could be that, as I'm saying, it was dark because I'm referring to the fact that it was during the night or it was at night. But even if yes, there are lights in the township, but even though there are lights, but it gets dark.
Okay, so you're confusing me now. Was it dark or not dark?
To me, it was dark.
To me, it was dark.
Thank you very much, Mtogo. Let's move on. And whilst I'm on referring you to the witness, thank you, my lord. I'm done with the two exhibits, U1 and U2. Whilst I'm still referring to the evidence of Ntabiseng Mokete, Ntabiseng, she further testified that she went to the hospital. Did you see her in the hospital?
Ngisakhuluma ngaye ke uNthabiseng ushilo ke kubufakazi bakhe ukuthi naye ke waya esibhedlela. Ngabe wambona yini uNthabiseng esibhedlela?
Engakusho ke ngalapho ukuthi kwayimanje uNthabiseng angimazi mina. Akazi ukuthi uba uNthabiseng angimazi nje uNthabiseng mina.
What I can say with regards to that, I don't know who Ntabiseng is. Even as I'm speaking, I just don't know who Ntabiseng is. I wouldn't even be in a position to point her out. So I wouldn't see someone in hospital that I don't know.
And then Ntabiseng further testified that she heard Zandi Kumalo's voice screaming saying that Ntabiseng, please call ambulance, and said at that time he was standing inside Khumalo's premises next to the substation.
Ntabiseng was standing inside.
No, Zandi.
Zandi,
Ntabiseng heard Zandi screaming and shouting whilst Zandi was inside Khumalo's homestead, saying
Uma saqhubeka ke kubufakazi bakho Ntabiseng uthi wamuzwa ke uZandi ke nomezwa ke iphimbo kaZandi ke ememeza futhi ke ngaleso sikhathi leso uZandi wayemi phakathi egcekeni lakubo.
And Ntabiseng said this happened after the last gunshot was fired, and then after that he immediately saw the first person he saw, it was Zandi who came out screaming. You understand?
Akushoyo ke Ntabiseng ukuthi lokho kwenzeka ke emuva kokuthi ezwe isibhamu sesiqhuma ke okugcina ke nokuthi umuntu oqala ke abambona ke emuva kwalokho kwaba uZandi.
As you were outside, I'm taking that you were outside at that time when the last shot was fired. You were outside by Ngashe's premises. Did you see Zandi screaming? Did you hear Zandi screaming to Ntabiseng?
Ngithatha ukuthi ke nkathi ke isibhamu sesiqhuma ke siqhuma kokugcina ke ukuthi wawungaphandle ke wena ukwancatshe kodwa ungaphandle ke ingabe wamuzwa yini uZandi ememeza noma ebiza yena ke Ntabiseng kodwa ememeza.
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngike ngasho ukuthi ngangezwa amazwi abantu ababekumemeza bekhala kwase kuphuma uMakakheli. That's when ngaphuma ngajumpa ngabuza uMakakheli mina ukuthi ulo muntu odubulisa khona ngaphakathi. So ukuthi uZandi wayescream noma kakubani angisikhumbuli ke lokho ngeke ngize ngikwazi ukukhomenta kakhulu ngakho. Shuthi Ntabiseng yena kuzosho into ayishoyo yena.
I think I did make mention of the fact that I heard people's voices or people screaming and shouting, and I then came out and I then saw Zandi's mother. I then inquired from her whether the person was still there. She told me that the person was no longer there. As to whether that was Zandi or who, that I wouldn't know. Ntabiseng said so.
Okay, from where did you hear those people screaming? From where?
Labantu wabezwa ke bememeza wabezwa bemeza kuphi?
From the streets, from
Kelly
the
house.
Where?
From Kelly Khumalo's house. Bememezela ke kubona kubo kulopheli.
Inside the house.
Yeah, I think it was inside coming out.
Ngicabanga ukuthi kwakungaphakathi ke kumela ngaphandle.
Okay. If it was inside coming out, did you see who came out screaming? Whether it was Zandi or Makhumalo?
Ngabe wabona yini ukuthi ubani ke owaphuma ke memeza noma kwakuZandi noma uMakhumalo?
Njengoba ngisho ukuthi ngimkhumbulayo kakuMakakheli yena umuntu engikhumbulayo ngibona.
As I've already said that the person that I recall seeing was Kelly's mother.
Thank you. Miss Ntabiseng Muketa further testified that she was the first person to be called in hospital into the room where the deceased was lying, and she was the first person to be told about the death of the deceased.
Uqhubekile kuNtabiseng ngobufakazi bakhe wathi esibhedlela uyena umuntu oqala wabizwa ke ukuthi aye kuleya gumbilela awayekulona umufi, uyena umuntu oqala owatshelwa ngokushona kukamufi.
But you testified, correct me if I'm wrong, and you said Zandi and Kelly, they were called, you also then followed them into the room, and then you were told
Kelly's mom.
Kelly's mom.
Yes.
Then you were called into the room. You were also told about the death of the deceased. Am I correct there?
Uzongilungisa ke uma ukuthi ngenza iphutha ke ukuthi kwabizwa ke njengoba ulungisile wena ke kwabizwa ke uMakakheli ukuthi he was also called.
No, you just followed, not that you were called. You followed, you decided to follow them.
Walandela nawe ke.
Yes.
Wasulandela. Uma kwabizwa umuntu bona bafuna nje umuntu omdala wase wena yalandela ke.
Understand futhi angikhomente kakhulu ngento esho Ntabiseng angimazi ukuthi ngempela ngabe number bakusense lapha bafuna unumber bafuna umuntu omdala for which kwaya uMakakheli from uMakakheli mina ngalandela ngangena ngafica usenzo bemboza ngamvula mina personally so kusho Ntabiseng angeke ngize ngicomment kakhulu ngakho mina ngisho okwenzeka ukuthi babiza uMakaZandi
I'm not going to say much on what was said by Ntabiseng. I don't even know how she is to Senzo, or related she is to Senzo. I said that they were looking for an elderly person. Zandi's mother then went. I followed. When I got into that room, they were covering Senzo, and then I opened him.
But can you recall if Ntabiseng was present when the doctor conveyed the message to you in Makumalo about the death of the deceased?
Ingabe usakhumbula yini ukuthi wayekhona uNthabiseng ngenkathi udokotela esetshela ke uMakhumalo ukuthi uSenzo akasekho?
Njengoba ngishilo ukuthi Ntabiseng angimkhumbuli. Ave ukukhulu ukukhumbula umuntu ongamazi. Angimkhumbuli.
As I've already said that I can't remember Ntabiseng. It is so difficult, so hard to remember someone you don't know.
Okay, it's fine. If you can't remember her in hospital, it's fine. Let's move on further. If you can remember, at what stage did Makhumalo arrive in hospital?
Uma kuwukuthi usakhumbula ke uMakhumalo uzofika ngasiphi isikhathi noma ninike esibhedlela?
It wasn't kude after thina sifikile.
It was not long after we had arrived.
With whom did she arrive in hospital? If you can remember?
No, wafika ehamba nobani?
Angisakhumbula ukuthi wafika nohamba nobani ngoba vele thina sasesingaphakathi angithi ngoba sasiphuthumisa uSenzo.
I can't remember in whose company she was because we were already inside rushing Senzo.
Okay. Let's go back a little bit to the evidence of Zandi Khumalo. Inside the house now, we're going back from the hospital. Or maybe, sorry my lord, let me just cover at the hospital, the questions at the hospital. When you were inside the room with Makhumalo, when you were told about the death of the deceased, where was Kelly Khumalo?
Ngale nkathi ke uphakathi ulandele uMakhumalo ke nitshela ukuthi uSenzo akase uKelly wayekuphi ngaleso sikhathi?
I think uKelly wayese reception area because ngiyakhumbula babehleli phansi nje mbamba phansi babekhalela lapho phansi, so I think lapha ngase reception area.
I think she was at the reception area because they were seated flat. They were set flat there at the reception. That's why they were crying.
Okay. Do you know what happened to the deceased phone from the robbery incident up to the time when you moved into the hospital?
Ngabuyazi ukuthi kwenzekani ngefoni yakhe umufi ngaso sonke leso sikhathi leso sukela ngesikhathi ke sokubanja inkunzi baze kwayisikhathi la niyakhona ke esibhedlela. Uyazi ukuthi ifoni yakhe?
Do you know if it was robbed?
Ukuthi yathathwa yini?
Cha ngathi ayithathwanga ifoni yakhe.
No, I think it wasn't taken.
Ngoba ngiyakhumbula ukuthi ngathi ifoni yani kuMakasenzo. Ngathi ngiyakhumbula kuMakasenzo at some point emva kwesikhathi nje. So angiboni ukuthi iyarobha.
I think I do recall that
it corrected. But ngiyakhumbula ngathi iyaphathwa yani kuMakasenzo.
That it was handed over to Makasenzo.
Yes.
Okay, that it was handed over to Senzo's mother. I stand to be corrected, but I don't know exactly when.
Okay, but that would have happened at a later stage. I'm just asking about the date of the incident.
Who
was in possession of the deceased cell phone from the place of the shooting incident up to the hospital, if you know?
Uma kuwukuthi uyazi ukusuka lapha endlini ukuhamba ukuya esibhedlela ubani owayeyiphethe ifoni kamufi? I don't know.
You don't remember?
I really don't know.
Okay. And you testified that Kelly Khumalo refused with the ID for the deceased.
Ushilo nokuthi ke wanqaba uKelly nge-ID kamufi.
Yebo wanqaba kumina.
Yes, she refused to me.
Did he tell you the reason why?
Ngaba wasisho isizathu.
Ngathi ngoba ngisho ukuthi ngaya eMalbathi ngiyofuna iID, wangitshela wathi iID ngekaza nginike uzoyigcina kuyena, uzolinda ubhuti kaSenzo nobaba kaSenzo kuba yibona abazoyi landa iID kubona, for which ngathi mangifika ngakustand mayifika ngakusasa ustand afika ngolesibili after siyomove uSenzo eJamestown elo same identify isibhustum sakhe ngamsusa khona ngamusa kuKelly eyofuna iID.
The reason she gave me was that she was going to wait for Senzo's father and brother and to come to her and ask for the ID. Indeed, Stan arrived on the Tuesday. So when we were coming back from Germiston, I then took Stan to Malberton.
nakhona futhi waqale wanqaba nezinto zasenzo ne-ID including ID but ekugcineni kuba sekukhona namaphoyisa nabanye ngeke ngibasho ukuthi bawobani ke ababe wethu senzo lento ayibhola idlala bagcina sekhiphile i-ID.
At first she refused, but then there were police and other people that I'm not going to mention in the circle of football, but then she only took out or gave them the ID.
Okay, that was the Tuesday after the Sunday of the incident.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There is evidence that a swim swap was done on the deceased cell phone. Do you know anything about that?
Kunobufakazi obuthi kwenziwa isim swap kuyena ke makhalekhukhwini wakhe umufi ngabe kukhona yini okwaziyo ngalokho.
And Colonel Stein further testified that a person who could have been able to do the SIM swap on the deceased cell phone is the person who was in possession of the deceased ID. But as a friend, I'm just asking if you have any knowledge about that.
Kodwa ke uma efakaza uKolonel Stein okuyena ke befakaza ke ngobufakazi ophathelene nama cell phones uthe umuntu owayengakwazi ukuthi akwenze lokho kwakuwumuntu ke owayephethe noma owayene ID yakhe umufi. Ngiyakubuza nje wena ke nanjengomngane mayela nje nalokho ukuthi khona yini okwaziyo ngalokho.
Ngiyaqala ukuzwa lokho.
I'm hearing it for the first time.
And kuyangithusa ke futhi ke ukuthi kwenzeka lento eyenzakalile ngasekho.
And it is shocking to me that happened in his absence or when he was no more.
But it is your evidence that the ID for the deceased was Miss Kelly Khumalo until the Tuesday from the day.
Sorry.
Until Tuesday after the incident.
Kodwa ke kubufakazi bakho ukuthi iID yakhe umufi yayikukheli kwaze kwashaya ulwesibili emuva kwesigameko kwesigameko.
Yebo kuyiqiniso lokho ngoba ngayibona kumsomluko.
Yes, it is true.
Lesibili bemnika ngangikhona futhi.
Yes, it is true because I saw the ID on the Monday as well as on the Tuesday when she handed it over.
Okay. Can you let's just quickly finalize this. As a close friend of the deceased, can you describe, do you know what was the nature of the relationship between Miss Kelly Khumalo and the deceased?
Nanjengomuntu ke obe umngani wakhe ke umufi ungachaza irelationship ukuthi yayi kanjani ke irelationship phakathi kwakho umufi kanye naye uKelly.
At that time of the incident around October, what was happening between Kelly and the deceased?
Ngaleso sikhathi leso sango-October kwakwenzekani phakathi kwabo babili?
Kumina kuzoba nzimana ukuthi ngikuchaze lokho ngoba manje ngizoyibuka ngelinye ihlo mina olaziyo ngicabanga nawe.
To me it's going to be difficult to explain that because I'm going to say it now in a different light which you also know.
Engingakusho nje ukuthi ke bona vele babethandana babe kwi relationship and angibambe kanjalo nje ngoba manje mengathiwa ngiyakhuluma kuzoba ngathi mhlawumbe yebo.
Let me just say that the two of them, they were in a relationship, they loved each other, so let me just hold it there because it's gonna seem as if now.
Yeah, no one will take you the other way around, but yeah, I'm going to ask this honorable court that we take a short adjournment and then we'll proceed after a short adjournment on that relationship.
All right, no problem.
Thank you, my lord.
Yeah, okay. 15 minutes, right?